Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for a very special tribute episode here on the channel. We're going to take a look at an awesome collection of hockey cards that I've recently been able to complete, featuring my favorite player, Alex Ovechkin. And I have committed here on the channel to showing a new Ovi card every time he scores a goal in the NHL. Probably just going to keep that going for the rest of his career at this point. And I'm a little bit behind. I think I left off with maybe at the 8-goal mark back in November, and I've let him build out to a lead, and I kind of got behind on purpose because today I have a 19-card collection showcase to get to that took me years to complete, and I finally got there, reached the top of the mountain, and I want to share it here today to celebrate his climbing the career goal ranks. And the cards that we're going to look at tie into this Ron Francis that you see here. So this is an Upper Deck Exclusives Ron Francis card from 1998 Upper Deck, 98-99. And it's the very first Exclusives parallel that they created in that 98 set. And these were numbered, even back then, to 100 on the back in this case. These parallels have been made with, I think, one exception every year since. They're still numbered to 100 to this day. And as such are probably my favorite modern hockey parallels, going back with serial numbering even further than Topps Gold in baseball. So just really, really nice lineage. And as you may have guessed, I completed a run of Alex Ovechkin Exclusives cards. So let's take a look. And, an interesting note to start, the 1 year that I mentioned that they skipped this parallel was actually Ovechkin's rookie year in 2005. Here's his Young Guns rookie. Very fortunate to have this card. There is no Exclusives version of this card. Same with Sidney Crosby. His rookie was in 2005 as well. Of course, that double rookie class. I think maybe the lockout the year prior might be the reason. I've never been able to really confirm that. But for whatever reason, there is no Exclusives 2005 Ovi. Now, that's a good thing for me because I wouldn't be able to afford it if there was. But we did get kind of a close approximation of that. So in the 2022 Upper Deck Extended set, which is sort of like update or traded in baseball, they created these retro cards with the 2005 Upper Deck design on them, and they made Exclusives versions of them. So you can see the serial numbering here out of 100. And this is actually a serial numbered or a parallel of an insert. Because this retro 2005 was an insert in 2020 Extended, but it kind of represents the closest that you can get to a rookie year Exclusives Alex Ovechkin. So I picked this one up for the run, even though it's not a strict fit, just to kind of be a fill-in for that rookie card or, what might have been had they done Exclusives back in 2005. So that's the first one. And then we're going to proceed through the years here. So here's a really big one. This is his first ever Exclusives insert, or parallel, I should say, from 2006. We're getting some natural light in here this morning, but just gorgeous parallel. It's a little bit hard to tell here, but in these mid-2000s to late 2000s, they did the Exclusive stamp in a rainbow foil. So you can see it here, just that beautiful rainbow foil effect on both the Upper Deck logo and the Exclusive stamp. Nice shot here, horizontal shot of Ovi, and even his name on the nameplate is done in rainbow foil. Now this is something that would change in the coming years, and we're going to see more on that in a couple minutes. So I really love this era of rainbow foil usage on the Exclusives. I like these. I think they're kind of even a degree cooler than the other Exclusives cards from his run. So there is the first Ovi Exclusives from 2006, given that they skipped his rookie year. Moving forward, here's the 2007, and I like this one for a few reasons. The image is awesome, number one. Number two, we're still in the era of using the rainbow foil at this point for the Exclusives, foil work and the nameplate and even the serial numbering in this case. On the 2006, the numbering was on the top back, but was done in rainbow foil. And when's the last time you saw rainbow foil on the back of a card? But in 2007, the numbering's right here on the front. Glorious rainbow foil. The photograph is awesome, like I said. But on top of that, this may go down as his best season of his career. And I've really become a fan of trying to find cards of a player's best season. Obviously, he hasn't hung up the skates yet, but he had a career high 65 goals. He led the league in points and had a career high, I think it was 112 in points as well. He won the scoring title that year, which is still to date the only scoring title in his esteemed career, or so the only Art Ross trophy that he's ever won. And on top of that, he won the MVP of the league, his first MVP. So 2007, a really important year for Ovi, and I just love that card for those reasons. Here is the 2008, continuing to move forward. Again, serial numbering on the front and rainbow foil, very similar to 2007. Absolutely gorgeous. Another great celebration shot. You know, this is early in his career where he was just banking goals almost every night. It's still not all that different, even, 15 plus years later here. But in 2008, he won the MVP again. So back-to-back MVP awards, and this card represents one of those MVP seasons. So that's pretty great. Moving into 2009, this is where we see the shift from the rainbow foil to the gold foil being used for exclusives. And that's still what's in place to this day for the most part, gold foil. So you can see really this whole card is embellished with gold foil. Copy 56 of 100 here. Got the exclusives written up the side. One of my favorite images on any Ovechkin flagship Upper Deck card here with this 2009, just a really, really gorgeous, gorgeous image. Big fan of this one, and I know I have a couple hobby friends who have one of the other 100 copies of this, so that's pretty cool. Let's move now to the 2010 set. And here's another great image. Just Ovi ripping his patented slap shot at home here in Washington with the home reds on. Really think the horizontal layout works well here. We'll see a mix of horizontal and vertical throughout this run. But really nice card there. And again, the numbering right on the front. Those of you that were baseball collectors back in 2010, you'll recognize this design from the Upper Deck baseball set as well. Something I really miss is seeing that kind of cross-sport design that we used to get back in the day. All right, now to 2011. This is one of the last ones that I picked up, or was one of the toughest ones for me to find. Even though this image, I'm not a huge fan of it, features Ovi throwing a football on skates. I think it's popular just because of its quirkiness. And I waited probably, well over a year, maybe a year and a half, where there was only one copy of this on eBay. It was like KSA graded up in Canada, and the seller wanted like $200 or $300 for it, and I just wasn't willing to pay that much as I wanted to finish this collection and this run. Finally picked this one up for about 50 or 55 bucks. So, good luck to that guy selling the graded copy for 300 or 200. Hope he gets it, but I wasn't going to be his buyer. Next, we move to 2012-13, and this season was a shortened season that was impacted by a labor stoppage and a lockout. So what happened is we only got one series of Upper Deck hockey. They usually, just like Topps Baseball, they print a Series 1 and a Series 2. But due to the lockout, we only got one series. Ovi was not in it. And so as a result, he didn't get an exclusives base card or an Upper Deck base card in 2012. But what they did do back then, they didn't have an extended or an update set that was a standalone set until the last couple of years here. But they would print update cards to the Upper Deck flagship set as like inserts in SP Authentic. And they did that in 2012, and they also created at that time exclusives for those. So this is a very tough card. This is out of 2012 Upper Deck SP Authentic. This is the exclusives kind of high number or update card. So this is Ovi's only 2012 Upper Deck flagship card, printed in much smaller quantities. Even the base card, the non-exclusives of this, is very difficult to find and can command 3 figures, believe it or not. So happy to have this one. It's, I think, the only one that I've picked up graded in an SGC 9.5. I didn't necessarily need it graded, but copies of this are so scarce that this is really one of the only ones I've ever seen pop up over the years. So very, very grateful to have that one. Moving on now to 2013 we're at. And this is another of my favorite images on any of these cards. Look at this shot. Ovi on the breakaway, putting the puck here past, I want to say that's maybe Mikhail Backlund for the Flames. I'm not 100% sure on that, but what a shot. He's just deked the goalie, tucking the puck into the back of the net here. Just awesome stuff. One of his, now 800 plus goals. And this is another one that I just don't see surface all that often. I mean, honestly, all of these really dry up over time. I feel like I say this a lot, but anyone who collects, serial numbered cards, and particularly anything, 100 or less, how tough it can be to track down these cards, especially a couple of years after release. What seems to happen is, a product comes out, everybody's ripping it. A few of these will hit the market, within a few months of release date. But then, after maybe 6 months or a year, they really disappear. And if you're looking for older versions of these cards, the wait time and the patience required can be a challenge for a lot of collectors. So here is the 2014, continuing the run forward, simple celebration shot. Not a whole lot to say about this one. It's not my favorite by any means, but it was needed to complete the run. And again, part of the reason I wanted to show this special collection today is because these 19 cards, in terms of where I'm at with showing a card for every goal he scores, these represent him becoming only the third 800 goal scorer in the history of the NHL. And then shortly after that, actually passing Gordie Howe for number 2 all time. So pretty significant stretch of goals that we're covering here. And so I thought it was appropriate to use, a significant collection that I recently completed to pay tribute, to those goals. So here's the 2015 up next. Again, not one of my favorite images. This is, I believe, during like the skills competition at the All-Star game. Ovi kind of just lounging around on the ice here. This is McDavid's rookie year, so I think it's kind of a nice card in that respect, but I'm just not a big fan of the photo. So that's kind of what happened here. Picked it up for the run, needed it, but again, one that I would kind of rank a little ways down if I were to put these in order from favorite to least favorite. And also, this one is slightly overcut, off topic, by Upper Deck to where it doesn't fit in a one-touch. And that kind of drives me bananas because every other card in this run is either graded or in a one-touch magnetic. Maybe I'll find another 2015 someday to replace that one. But either way, it still counts as one of the 100 that are out there. Here's the 2016 exclusives. So you'll notice a lot of, fittingly, a lot of goal celebration shots on Ovi's flagship cards. And, that really makes sense for a man who's deposited the puck with the frequency that he has over his career. 2017 next, and this is one I've shown before and have talked about before because it's one of my favorite Ovechkin cards in existence. I love the photo, and I also love that this is the year that he finally won his Stanley Cup, and I feel like the tide started turning a little bit in the Crosby versus Ovechkin debate. So for those who don't know, Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin came into the league the same year. They were both number 1 draft picks, but they started the same year thanks to a lockout in 2004. And right out of the gate, it was always the debate, Ovi or Sid, who is the better player? And for the first, I would say almost decade, despite Ovechkin winning scoring title and multiple MVPs and just racking up goals at a pace that Crosby could not do, Crosby was the golden boy for the first 10 years. He won all the awards. He won 3 Stanley Cups by the mid to late 2010s. And, he was the front runner. His stuff was expensive. No one cared as much about Ovi. This Stanley Cup win in 2017 was the start of the title change. And I think Ovechkin winning that title, getting over that hump, was the first step in that. And now, in subsequent years, as he's pursued the goal mark, he's become even more of a hobby darling. So I feel like things have leveled off a little bit after the peaks and valleys. And I think Ovechkin is, as collected as Crosby now, or maybe even more collectible than Crosby for the first time really in their careers. So love this one. Actually have copy 100 of 100 here. We'll always pick this up if I see it, priced cheaply enough. And so I do have a handful of these, but chose copy 100 for this tribute episode. Next up, we got the 2018 Upper Deck, and this is probably him celebrating like some sort of pregame ceremony, honoring the team for winning the Stanley Cup is my guess, because this is the season after that Stanley Cup win. Not my favorite photo. I don't love the lack of a helmet. It's just kind of an awkward shot. So another one that I wouldn't, put at the top of my list of prized exclusives of Ovi, but still happy to have it. And then in 2018, we also got an update, an all-star card in the update set from SP Authentic that I referenced back in 2012. So it shows Ovi in his all-star uniform, and just another, out of 100, same design as the base card, obviously, from that year. So kind of nice to have both flavors of the 2018 Ovi. And then almost done here. I know we're at the 15-minute mark. Here's the 2019, great horizontal action shot here, ripping the puck towards the net. Like the simplistic design, again, gold foil like we've seen, really every year for, at this point, a decade. Here's your 2020. It's another one of my favorite images. Check out the bend in that stick and the flex. This might be my single favorite image on any Ovechkin exclusives. And this was actually either the second to last or last card that I got to complete this collection, because I thought I had already picked up a copy. And then when I started gathering all these together to do this episode, to my shock and horror, realized I did not have the 2020. And I stupidly sat and passed on one that was on ComC for months thinking that I already had it. By the time I realized I didn't, that one was gone. And I waited probably 6 to 7 months for another one to surface on eBay, and thankfully was able to bring this one home to complete the collection. So there's the 2020. 2 more to go here. Here's the 2021, and this one is significant because this is the season where Ovi reached the 50-goal plateau at age 36, which is just so awesome. Continuing to just, score at an incredible rate. He's up over 30 goals this year, even as a 37-year-old. I think this is his age 37 season, and still just getting the job done. And on that note, on that final, age 37 season that takes us up to present day, here is the latest in the long line of Ovi exclusives, the 2022-23, featuring the alternate jersey for the Washington Capitals. And that is the 19th, if my count was correct, and final card in today's Alex Ovechkin exclusives bonanza. So I'm so proud to be able to have this complete run. It was a real bear to put it together, but it's one of the more significant things that I've accomplished in the hobby over the last few years. And as he winds down his career, hopefully he gives us a few more seasons, and I will continue to search out the parallels between now and when he retires, just to keep this run intact. But the most difficult work is behind me, and now it's just a matter of picking up that new one each year and kind of keeping up. So my favorite player, actively my favorite parallel in hockey, and an amazing complete collection. Huge congrats to Alex on becoming the 3rd 800 goal scorer in history and on passing Gordie Howe for number 2 all time. Will he catch Wayne Gretzky? I don't know. I think it's maybe 60-40 at this point. But I promise you that every time he scores from here on out, I will show a new Alex Ovechkin card from my collection here on the channel. And I certainly hope that I get to show many more. So thanks again for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'll be back in the very near future with some more sports card content. And until then, take care and enjoy the hobby.